The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
Why don't we just wait here for a little while? See what happens.
Do you want to die, Sidney?
For England, James? No.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
Look what you did to him!
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
As you can see, I have
All right, here we go. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Macho Movie Madness.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Brandon. Alongside me always is Andrew and Kenny.
What's going
and
on,
today
guys?
we have got a special episode. More recently, we just did a Why We Love Last Action Hero video, and we talked about how much we love the film and how we thought it was actually really underrated. A lot of people didn't understand the film. Now, I won't say that exactly about True Lies, but Kenny mentioned it right before we came on, and I do agree with him. I think this movie might be a little underrated now, too, because not enough people talk about how great this movie is, at least not anymore. They don't.
No.
You know, they talk about all these other movies, but
It's one of those that's finally this spring getting a 4K release, right? I'm sure you've got
Yes.
that up in your shopping cart.
oh yeah, for sure. I'm ready. I've been waiting for this. I just got the DVD and it was killing me. But True Lies, now this, funny enough, was Arnold's big comeback after Last Action Hero failed to meet expectations.
Right.
We talked about it in that video where he was kind of down in the dumps after Last Action Hero not doing so well, and he kind of got depressed over it and just got, because he's I mean, we're talking about Terminator 2 is his peak, really.
Yeah.
And this is a couple of years later, 93. This movie comes out, supposed to be this big deal, has all these people in, a lot of cameos. It's fun, but it just, for whatever reason, didn't take off. Obviously you had Jurassic Park and a bunch of other things that year too that was probably killing it, but didn't do well, didn't sit well with everybody, really put him in a bad spot. James Cameron said that it was probably the lowest he's ever seen Arnold.
Which doesn't happen very often.
No, because Arnold is the epitome of try and succeed and never give up, always been that. This movie came out a year later. Basically, I'm not so sure Cameron didn't just more or less do this for Schwarzenegger to get him back. but I don't know. But boy, God, I'm glad he did, because this 100, when I owned my movie store, and I've talked about it a little bit on this channel, I think, when I owned that, anytime somebody would come in, it was a running gag for a long time. Anytime somebody would come in, what's good? I'd be like, True Lies. And you'd be surprised how many people hadn't seen it.
Wow.
Or maybe they'd seen it in a long time. They'd seen it a long time ago. Like, no. But if they watched everything that was new already, I'd be like, True Lies. Just go with True Lies. Sometimes I'd get people to do it. Yeah, I'll read that. But that's just pretty much, I'm telling you that because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's super underrated, and I have to promote it whenever I get a chance, because that's one of those things.
Yeah, and that's what we're really excited to talk about it, much like we did last time out with Last Action Hero. Like you said, just totally underrated, and hopefully we give it its due here.
Well, I guess we can run down the plot real quick too. Harry Tasker, he plays Harry Tasker. He's basically a spy, and his wife is played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Her name's Helen, and she believes he's just some sort of salesman, some boring ass salesman. And she's like a secretary for a lawyer, I don't know, something like that, just like an accounting firm or something. I can't remember, but basically she doesn't know he's a spy, and he's been a spy the whole time. And the movie kicks off. hot and heavy with him infiltrating a party, and I think it's one of the coolest openings in an action movie ever. If you're big into Mission Impossible or Jason Bourne, you've got some of those elements, for the newer fans. I guess, those movies aren't super new anymore, but it's got all those elements too, but it's also very James Bondish as well. And that first opening of the movie is very James Bondish.
Yeah, that's what it definitely reminds me of a cold open to a James Bond.
Yeah.
Love all the one-liners in there. When they asked him to see his invitation, oh, here's my invitation.
Yeah, and he blows the thing.
It's a great line.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, what are you planning on doing here? I'm going to walk out the front door. He's like,
bold.
That's bold. That's ballsy. Is it stupid, but ballsy?
Yeah.
Just a lot of little things. You really have to pay attention to this movie. And if you haven't seen it in a while, you'll know what I mean when you go back and watch it. You just have to, the little bits of dialogue, the little bit of the little shit that they say that's put into this movie is some of the funniest stuff that you may not even realize until you see it again. You really pay attention.
I remember the first time I was fired out of a cannon.
yeah, just like that. Tom Arnold, and I think Andrew talked about it with me and him talked about it at work the other day. This is the best Tom Arnold has ever been and ever will be in anything.
Yeah, Tom Arnold usually gets on my nerves, but he was great.
Yeah, Tom Arnold is perfect.
Gib.
Yeah, Gib. He keeps his shit. He hands. Hey, you forgetting something? He hands him the rings. Like, oh, what a team!
Yeah,
what a team! Yeah, he takes care of Harry. But so yeah, let's just go ahead and talk pros. You guys want to start off with pros? Which one do you want to start off first?
What I like about this movie, just the comedy in this thing. How it's just about every scene you've got. It's got beats like it's set for a laugh. Just about without the laugh track even.
Yeah, it is.
I love the comedy throughout it. A lot of James Cameron movies miss that. Like there's not a lot of comedy in The Terminator or The Abyss or Titanic. I thought he did comedy very well in this movie.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
And of course, the action scenes go without saying. I'm sure we'll talk about them here, but that's about. When I think True Lies, I think more comedy than anything because this movie really had me laugh. I hadn't seen it in probably a dozen years at least, and it had me in stitches the entire time.
I laughed the whole way through the movie. I
do too. Yeah, every time I laugh, and it's. I think there are some scenes that maybe they're not intended to be funny, really, but they just are because. That's how funny Arnold Schwarzenegger is, and you don't really realize it until he does something like this.
And it's just so smart the way they set up some of it, like when she's firing that Uzi from that balcony, and whoa, and then it goes end over end, Three Stooges style, and shoots everybody in the room but her husband.
Yeah, still kills everybody.
That's amazing.
I love, and I think I told you this the other day too. But that dinner table scene after he finds out that he thinks she's cheating on him.
Yes.
Where he just looks at her, and then and the camera slowly pans into him, and he's in the background, her voice is fading in the background because it's focusing on what he's doing, but she's just sitting there making up this big story and lying, about why she wasn't around for lunch, and he just looks, and then whenever she finishes the story, he just comes out of look and goes, "Huh, sounds like a crazy day." He's hilarious.
Yeah.
I agree. I think the comedy is probably, I don't know, like I want to say that they're neck and neck with the action because there's a lot of action in this movie.
Is.
So I love the action in this as well. All the scenes are perfectly laid out, and I love the story. I love all the characters in this movie. Even the bad guys are great in this movie. I think it's kind of interesting actually. The main bad guy, just he's just kind of hiding in the shadows as like just this low level worker at first.
Yes.
And he even kind of goes to get his hands dirty, like that bathroom scene. He kind of gets his hands dirty too. He's not just one of those dudes waiting in the wings for his, and the goons are taking care of everything until the climax, like a lot of bad guys do. He's out there getting his hands dirty the whole movie.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because I think I may be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that he is a good guy in The Living Daylights, the Afghans that that Timothy Dalton helped save there toward the end of the movie.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that's where I've seen him before.
I don't remember that.
So
I don't remember that.
Friends in one and foes in another. So
yeah, I don't remember that. I'll have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, it's in like the last act of the movie.
You got a laundry list of people too in this movie. Tia Carrere from Wayne's World in this, super hot, by the way, in this movie. Which, I mean, she was in Wayne's World 1 and 2 as well. Jamie Lee Curtis does a great job. Obviously, she's got a very big role in this movie too. There's a very big scene in this movie that's very notable.
Yeah.
And then Bill Paxton.
Probably the best she's ever looked.
Oh yeah, I agree with that too, Kenny. I do. I agree. That's probably the best she's ever looked. Bill Paxton is Simon, though. Another great side character. Speaking of comedy, I love the little things they put in. Even like that little daydream he had of punching Simon when he's talking about her. Just backhands the shit out of him. He's all bloody. Like he kills him with a backhand. He just kills him. Love that.
Simon's lines, man, in this movie. I think Kenny was quoting him the other night.
Yeah,
because it's you.
Yeah. I got a couple buyers on the line, but hey, because it's you. Sure.
He's awesome.
Sure, I got a couple buyers on the line. So, what do you guys have any cons over this movie? Kenny, you didn't really talk about your pros.
I have one con. One con, and it was not enough Simon. I needed more Simon.
We need a spin-off, you're saying?
Yeah. Well, we can't have it now.
For me, he's the MVP.
Oh, well.
MVP of the movie.
Yeah. That's high praise for Simon in True Lies.
Yeah, he becomes the villain of the second act of the movie when you think about it. Because
he does.
I was telling Brandon when we get into cons, I hadn't watched this in forever, and I rate it in my top 10. It's there in the middle, and it still is after rewatching it again. But like when I first saw it, it feels kind of disjointed at first. You know, you've got this spy thing, and then you've got this domestic thing, which goes back into the spy thing. But they do it so seamlessly. What it could just fall apart right there, and it doesn't. It's just a tight story.
I was going to bring that up. That's a good point. Can you think of any other movie that has done that, or I don't know if any other movie's done it, but can you imagine any other movie doing that? It would just go off the rails. Yeah,
you get Hands of Steel is what you'd get.
Exactly. You get
environmental thing, turn it into arm wrestling, and
yeah, you're like, what is happening? Because it's very different from that first act to the second act to the third act again, and it really comes full circle there.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and I thought after not seeing it for a while, how are they going to get this back? Because they've almost lost me now, because they had this big thing with the Crimson Jihad going on, and now it's domestic. But yeah, it was effortless when they brought it back.
Yeah, it's a long movie, so they just spend a lot of time basically telling the story. I think it's more of just Harry Tasker. It's Helen Tasker as well. You know what I mean? Like it's her story too.
Doris and Boris.
It's Doris and Boris's story. And it's just, they had to basically tell his at the beginning and what he's doing, and then tell hers and how they come together at the beginning of that third act or that into that second act, and then they go into the third act together. And I think it's just brilliantly done.
Yeah.
It's brilliantly done. And it brings both those characters together. She realizes he's a spy, and then their marriage is saved and everything's great and hunky-dory. Of course, you still have Dana gets involved, the daughter, who's played by Eliza Dushku. And they end up kidnapping her, and so it just heightens that a little bit more. The stakes are that much higher at the end. And yeah, totally good. Even him flying that jet at the end is hilarious.
Sorry.
I'm trying to figure out how many times Arnold Schwarzenegger said sorry in this movie. Like, because I counted like 15, I'm pretty sure there was like 14 or 15 sorries just when he was on the horse going through the hotel. Because he was going through and interrupting. Sorry.
What does he tell the old couple when he gets in the elevator with the horse?
I don't remember. It's something
When
about
he's trying to go up. Whatever it was funny. I remember
something about hitting the top, but hit the top.
Yeah,
can you
we'll go to the top
button
for
the
one
top
piece.
Yeah. He's like he was telling him Gib on the radio what he needed. I need units on the north side of this street or whatever, in the south side, that we can trap him, we can box him in. He's like, and do it quickly because my horse is getting tired. So you think, ranking this movie, Andrew, you think it's still in your middle as far as like Hammer movies go?
And it's not because there's anything bad about it. It's just I hold some other movies really, really high.
Yeah. I don't really have a lot of cons for this movie, personally. I don't even know if I have any cons for this movie. I guess if I had to nitpick, and I don't even know. I was gonna say it might be too long because it's 2 hours and 20 minutes long.
Yeah,
But
what would you?
I enjoy everything, and that's another thing too. You stuff a movie like this. You stuff so much into a movie like this, but it's all relevant and it's all good. Like I never get bored whatsoever. Even all the shit with like, I mean, I guess if you watched it every day, I could see that. But if you just watch it here and there, you're basically in the movie. I mean, you're wondering what's going on with Helen and Gib and Harry are trying to break company protocol and spy on her and figure that out. And he's worried about her cheating potentially on him, all while in the background, just for a little bit, they're worried about the jihadists. And I don't know, like there's nothing you can cut at all that I would want you to cut, because it's all good.
It's still good that it's relevant today when you look at FUBAR, which I don't know how many of you guys have watched FUBAR yet, but my wife had actually saw it first, and then I showed her this the other night for the first time. She was totally into this, and it's 30 years old this year. Wow.
Yeah, be 30 years old this year.
Yeah, so it's still relevant.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I'm hoping that this movie gets more or less a resurgence, or like hopefully with the 4K, maybe people will start talking about it again. Maybe there'll be another review on it or something. Because I really don't think this movie gets talked about enough, in whether it be the action or the comedy scene. I don't know. I don't hear channels talking about it. I don't hear really anybody talking about this movie.
Yeah.
It's put together so well.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm not the hugest Titanic fan. This is, to me, is James Cameron's last great movie, I think.
I mean, I do like Titanic, but this is better than Titanic. 100% better than Titanic. I guess maybe just like the circumstances around Titanic, the story itself, and then of course you had all the women and the love story with Jack and Rose. But this is, for a man anyway, this is the best fucking movie of James Cameron in the 90s.
Yeah,
for sure. Other than Terminator 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess, how do you want to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10? What would you rate it?
Oh gosh, somebody else go first.
A 10.
Yeah, out of 10. A 10 out of 10. A 10 out of 10.
There's nothing that I dislike about this movie at all.
I 100% agree. I would go 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
However, that's what because there's nothing about this film that I dislike. There's no if you want to nitpick mistakes, but this is something that happens in every movie, especially back then with stuntmen. There's a lot of camera cuts where you could tell, like on the horse, that it wasn't Schwarzenegger, and you on the bike you could tell it wasn't the dude on the bike. More so on the horse. So I noticed that even just rewatching it again last night. I noticed that a lot, and I was like, what the hell? But that's nitpicking. The fact is that happens in all these movies.
Yeah.
With stuntmen and shit like that. This movie's pretty close to perfect. If you could find a movie. So again, why this isn't on top of anybody's list as far as action or action comedy movies, at least
it's a top,
in that top tier movie.
Yeah, I go 9 out of 10
movie for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
which I judged pretty harsh. So I'd go 9 out of 10, 4.5 out of 5. It's right there.
Yeah. So that's pretty high praise considering how you scale shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really. I don't really know what else to say. I just I didn't have anything like special made out for this video. I just wanted to get us all together and kind of talk about how much we love it and gush over it a little bit, and hopefully bring awareness to those out there who may have not seen it or seen it in a long time. I encourage you to go back and watch this movie. This is top level shit right here. So anybody else have anything else to say?
No, man, it's if you haven't seen this in a long time like I have, go watch it and you'll go, man, how's it been so many years since I've watched this movie? And why is nobody talking about this movie 30 years on? Hopefully they do like a Alamo Drafthouse 30th anniversary showing or something.
That'd be cool. I'll go for sure. It'd be fun.
Whatever you're doing right now, stop and go watch this movie.
Yep. Absolutely. If you got 2.5 hours and you're just sitting around, do it while you're sitting around. It's totally worth it. It's absolutely worth it. We could sit here and talk about all the different parts and like the different scenes all day and all the different dialogue. We'd be here forever. So I'm not going to do that. Just go and watch this movie. And we got anything else coming down the pike? We're talking. If you haven't watched that Last Action Hero video, go do so.
Yep.
And go watch Last Action Hero as well, because you've got one of those things where like you got this as a result of that, and you brought Arnold Schwarzenegger back, man. But I also think people need to go back and watch Last Action Hero, because that wasn't worth the criticism that it got either.
Yeah.
Like he should have never fell for that movie, because that was a great movie too. This is better, but it was also great. So, well, anyway, that'll cover it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and drop a like on the video if you like the video. Let us know in the comments what you think about True Lies and Last Action Hero if you want to talk about that too. Until next time, we'll see you.